Hello everybody and welcome to the Dell EMC Solution Center in beautiful downtown Tokyo, Japan. My name is Jonas Werner and I'm responsible for the server virtualization and cloud solutions out here. Today we're going to show you some of the new features of Redfish using Python scripting on the 14G platform. Considering that I'm such a rubbish programmer, I'm very happy to have had Texas Römer, who's the principal engineer in the Round Rock office, to graciously provided the scripts for this demonstration. We're going to kick things off first with a couple of slides just showing you the environment and how it's connected, and after that we're going to kick off with the demo proper. We're lucky today because I don't think they've had any Godzilla attacks scheduled, so things should run smoothly. Enjoy the show. Thank you.
So this is a diagram over what we're planning to do. It's a 14G server. There's an Apache web server. There is the Earth, and I'm on the other side of it. You may disregard the colorful bird for the moment. We're going to take the settings from the 14G server, put it on the Apache web server, modify it, and then put it back again on the 14G server again, and verify that the settings have been updated. So what we're going to do now is essentially going to kick things off by showing you a few scripts that techs have prepared. And I'm going to make this a little bit larger so it's easier to see first of all. We have a few scripts. I'll explain a few of them first, and then the last one we are going to actually execute and utilize for the demonstration itself. So I'll kick off. I'll start with Atom and show you the export script. And this one essentially exports the information from all the attributes and settings from a 14G server using export system configuration. Takes a single iDRAC IP address as the input, and we do some basic formatting to clean it up a bit, and then we output it directly to the screen. We just print it as is to the screen. So you can use this to export some attributes if you want to see it, and you don't have to print it to the screen, of course. You can save it or do whatever you want. The second script here is for import, and in this case we are just importing the XML data directly. So you have the payload and we're importing this directly into the server. You have to format it. Of course, it has to be proper XML. You have to escape the quotation marks, etc. But this way you can import one or several attributes if you wish. Then if you think that's a bit too much work, what you can also do is you can take a file and import that directly. That could be a file that you've exported before or one that you have formatted yourself. We take again the iDRAC address as the input and also a file name, and we of course in this case also do import system configuration. We do a little bit of cleanup or formatting, and then we send this off as a single XML string with a payload. So in this way you can actually deploy several attributes at once from an XML file if you have that ready or if you have formatted it yourself. Now for the actual demonstration, we will use a script that takes arguments, both export and import. Again, we use the iDRAC IP address and also a file name. So in this case, we can change between the export and import as we wish on the same script. And we also take now in the export format, we can choose between JSON and XML. We can also say, in this case, what type of share type do we want? It'll be HTTP since we want to use a web server this time. We have the web server address, the Apache web server address, and also the share name where we're going to put the file. So this is the actual web server. If you zoom in a bit, you can see the file share as well, which is currently empty. And this is where we're going to put the resulting JSON file. So let's actually execute this and see if we can get it to work. And hopefully I can spell to Python correctly. There we go. And then put in the iDRAC IP address. Then we put in export or import. In this case, we want to export the data. And then we have the file name. And we end up with that with JSON as a file extension, since that's the format that we have requested. And this is now send it off. It's created a system export job. It is now checking for the job status, and we'll do that until it is finished. Let's see how long that takes. 11 seconds. Okay, so that's pretty good. On 13G, this actually took between 40 seconds to a full minute. So it's a lot faster in 14G. Let's just check and see if the file server or the web server actually is updated, and it is. Now we have the JSON file there. Now we want to modify this file and actually check what format it is in first actually as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that over here. I'm going to pull that down from the web server using SCP. We just put in root at and the web server address, and then the folder name, which the file is in, and we copy that to local. So I'll just grab everything that is JSON there. It's only going to be one file anyway. So we got that down. Let's have a look at it. And there it is, Dell EMC World export.json. Let's just use Atom to actually view that with proper formatting. And there we go. So this is the way it looks. It's probably easier to read than the XML equivalent. You now have the different components, the names and the values, and you can also say if it is enabled or set on import true or false. It's something you can set as well. Let's see if we can find one that is false. Oh yeah, there we go. So what this is before we actually had with XML, when you exported XML files, you could have them, some of the lines were commented out and others were not. Just like it is in this example. So this is just for comparisons. This is standard XML format file that has been used for exporting all the data from a server. So instead of commenting things out, we now have this set on import variable instead, which you can utilize. Let's see if we can actually modify something. We could, for example, go for the processor virtualization settings. We have a few other ones here. There we go. So let's update that. It's enabled at the moment. Let's just disable the virtualization and see what that will do. Just save this file. Actually, let's save that in a different with a different file name, so we can keep them apart. So this one was called Dell EMC World Export. So we'll just do Dell EMC World Import instead. Save that. And let's do a little bit of a comparison between those files. Let's see what they are. Just diff those two and see, just so you can verify that it's only that single value now that has gone from enabled to disabled. Let's put that back on the web server, shall we? I'll give us a chance then to import it again using the same script. So we'll just copy that with SCP. We put it in the same folder as the other file was. And that is now uploaded. Let's go and check the file server or the web server, and then we'll see if it's there. And there we go. Now the export and the import files are both there. Now let's use the same script as we did the last time, just that this time we want to use import and then the other file that we just created, and see if we can actually modify then the value of the processor virtualization from enabled to disabled. So now instead we're using import, and let's see, that's the file name as well. There we go. Let's kick that off. Actually, before we do this, I would like to monitor this process because we now have the server set to be reset. It's going to reboot and apply this value. So let's just connect. I'm going to open a VNC session and connect into that server. And if I can only get the server IP address or the iDRAC IP address correct, and the port for that matter. As you know, Dell have the ability to use several different types of consoles, not just Java, but you can use HTML5 or ActiveX or VNC, which we're going to use in this case. So that's the server at the moment. It doesn't have an OS, so it hasn't started up or done anything. So we're just going to kick this script off. And now we've done that, we created an import job. We're now checking the status of it. On the server side, it is now resetting. It's waiting for it to shut down. And the script will continuously loop and check the job status and see how far that has progressed. I'm going to speed things up a little bit from here, so we don't have to wait for it. Now the server is started up. Beautiful new Dell EMC logo, as you can see, and new for 14G. And here we can see now it is processing the SCP configuration task, starting the BIOS configuration. And what's cool with this is you can actually do the BIOS configuration here without having to get into the UEFI. So it does this in the BIOS directly. We could not do this in 13G, but in 14G this is possible to do. So it'll speed that process up quite a lot, since it's possible to do the modification of the BIOS values directly. Now the job is completed. It's going to restart the system for us. I'll speed this process up a bit as well. What we're waiting for right now is for the job to complete and to give us the status of it so that we can see that it's actually finished. And there we go. CPU virtualization has been disabled. Fantastic.